Adopted by the military adopted them in 4570, which was the standard Springfield rifle cartridge at the time. During the Spanish-American War, they fired a mixture. Some guns were 4570, most were 4570, but some were converted over to 3040 Krag, which was equipping our standard infantry units at the time. At the Spanish-American War, volunteer infantry regiments, infantry were armed with the trapdoor. Regular army were issued the side-loading Krag Jorgensen bolt action, which is 3040 Krag.
3040.
Eventually, some were even converted over to 30-06, but by then, water-cooled machine guns had really taken their place.
Okay.
The spinning barrels offer a really, really high rate of fire. That was probably the gun's main flaw, is the fact that it can fire at such a high rate that transporting ammunition for the gun is problematic. It really wasn't until the 1960s that advanced mechanization had caught up, and they had electric motors and they had vehicles that could carry the. It would help if I put a loaded cylinder into the magazine. That mechanization could carry the ammunition and the motor to propel it.
Yeah, because if you kind of look at it as we have it set up right now, as 1862 design, it looks more like an artillery piece.
It does,
so
yeah,
that's kind of way the government, or I should say the infantry kind of looked at it, or the army itself, which means it's more of a defensive type weapon. Well, an artillery piece has a longer range than this guy. This is only a 1,000-yard accurate machine, where some of the cannons are 3,000-4,000 yards.
Wow.
So part of it is, I think the technology of this gun was far, far above how the Army could think about it.
When you think about 1,000 yards back then, how far
They
it
really
is, still
didn't
today,
know
how far.
quite how to use it.
I mean, to a lot of the, when we go to schools or whatever and talk to them, it's like, now remember, 100 yards for a football field. This is 10 of those,
Exactly.
you know, one right after the other, you know.
The British used them way more than the United States ever did.
I think they understood the idea of the smaller
They
army
did.
and the higher
And
firepower.
they had gunboats that they would equip them with 1-inch guns, which is just a small rotating cannon, not unlike what equips modern fighter aircraft today.
But again, gravity will feed the barrel that's right here, which is like, let's call it 10 o'clock position. Rotate the crank, the whole barrel assembly rotates, so when it gets to this point, 1 o'clock, it fires, and then the empties drop out. Of course, when one fires, the next one loads, and we can just keep up that rate.
That was very
Pin
cool.
bolt.
The magazine is dropped. Fire in the hole!
That is pretty cool.
And of course, to do this, we'd have 4 people, one on the magazine, one on the crank, and then 2 young lads, about maybe 10 to 12 years, already having these things preloaded and up to us. We could shoot 300 rounds a minute. Typical Civil War soldier was 3 shots in a minute.
300 rounds.
Were there any optics